Good evening, everybody. You know, sometimes whilst making contact with the various people involved in the case against Stephen Brendan, you do actually get a reply back. Wednesday, March the 1st of last year, I actually got a reply back from Lieutenant Wiegert, quite an appropriate date because it was the 11th anniversary of the interview they did of Brendan when they asked him who shot her in the head. So I'm just going to quickly run through his reply to my email, and he wrote, "Thank you for your concern. As you are aware, both cases are in the appeal stage, so it wouldn't be appropriate for me to comment about either case other than to say I am 100% certain of their guilt and stand by everything done in the case. I hope someday to be able to answer all of your questions. If you have a chance, you may want to read former prosecutor Kratz's book. Sincerely, Lieutenant Wiegert." So I thanked him for his prompt reply, because he did reply later on in the day. That was the day I sent my first email to him, and he replied straight back. I pointed out that I have not purchased a copy of Kratz's book, and I will never do so, as he disgraced himself by his conduct, both professionally and personally, and allowed the two to become intertwined. I also warned him that he shouldn't align himself with Kenneth Kratz and Fassbender, which obviously he has done in that reply back to me, and some have pointed out that he hasn't gone on television with Kratz. It was Fassbender that's done so. Having said that, though, Fassbender at least admitted to the fact that he wasn't sure of some of the things that Brendan has said. Well, from that we can conclude that if you're not sure of some of the things, then you cannot actually be sure of any of it, Thomas. I'll let you figure that one out. His reply was somewhat similar to the one that I received from Robert Herman, except that Herman suggested to check out articles by Dan O'Donnell, which I had already done so, and as I said, I immediately rejected as being the rantings of a village idiot. But clearly, both Mark Wiegert and Robert Herman are singing from the same hymn sheet, for whatever reason. We wait to find out. Now, I must point out and stress again and again that I have the utmost respect for people involved in law enforcement. At times they do an incredibly difficult job, often with certain restrictions put in place that basically tie their hands at times. But Lieutenant Wiegert, you're dealing with Brendan. He has the mental capacity of a 10-year-old. Now, to put that into perspective, when I'm teaching young accordion students up to probably around about the age of 12 or 13, this particular stunt works for them. I explain to them that in order to play the accordion, you have to extend the bellows out with your left arm. Therefore, it would be very, very useful if, like me, whenever you carry your accordion in its case, that you do so in your left arm, and that way your left arm will stretch further than your right. You will stretch your left arm and end up like me, with one arm longer than the other. And they buy that. Now, as I say, you're dealing with Brendan, who has the mental capacity of a 10-11-year-old. A guy whose really only passion and interest was wrestling. I mean, wrestling. I'm not going to offend lots of people that enjoy wrestling, They are very skilled athletes, and for a lot of people the wrestling is a superb entertainment, but I would have to err on the side of people who say that it's not a real contest. Now, Wiegert and Fassbender, you're dealing with trying to get the truth from somebody following the disappearance of a woman. That's a very serious case, okay? And some 16-year-olds can be very streetwise. They can be very evasive. And you might have misinterpreted Brendan's whole demeanour as trying to hide something. Now, the problem is that Brendan wouldn't argue with you about anything. If you told him night was day and day was night, he would have agreed with you. Of course, if he had have argued, not that he could have done, but, well, I suppose he could have done, he could have gone back to the original truth and told you the truth, but you weren't prepared to listen to that, and you were telling him that he was going to get done for it, and that Steve was going to sell him out. But if he had have argued with you at times, it would have been easier to see what was the truth and what wasn't. But as I say, that's all irrelevant when you bear in mind that none of it was the truth. Because I say, Brendan was quite happy to go with whatever you said. As my friend Ericosius pointed out on numerous occasions, the control question proves that Brendan was quite happy to go along with whatever you said. And so that particular arguing with you, it never occurred. And so I'm still puzzled as to when it was that you realised that you two were simply being used. First of all, it's highly insulting to the Calumet officers, the likes of Kucharski and Bryson, that they had been involved in searching the property for 3 days and found nothing, and then all of a sudden Lenk and Colburn find a key. That is incredibly insulting to your officers. It's suggesting that they cannot do anything, and that it's only Manitowoc that can find things. So one of the questions I would ask you was it simply Pagel and Kratz that were in cahoots with Manitowoc and the attorney's office in Manitowoc? Or were you also in on it? That I don't know. That I probably go against the grain with a lot of truthers, and that I would say, at the moment, and I know this might be offensive to some people, I'm prepared to give you the benefit of the doubt at the moment. But there's one or two interesting things that I want to mention. I posted a picture of you on Facebook, on the support group, and I got some interesting replies back. I asked why it was that you always had that puzzled look on your face. And somebody replied back that, no, I come from the same village as him. He's always got that puzzled look on his face. So thank you very much for that reply. In the trial of Brendan, you state that they had, as in Steve and Brendan, had 5 days to clear it up, clear the mess up in the trailer. Now, seriously, that is beyond the capability of most highly trained evidence technicians. As we discover, there's very, very few technicians that could have done such a feat. And yet you're suggesting that Steve and Brendan are somehow evidence technician experts. But here's the big problem. If they are, as you claim, such wonderful evidence technicians, why did they not clean the blood out of the RAV4? It's a simple enough question. If they're that good at getting rid of all the evidence in the trailer to that degree of cleanliness that there wasn't a single trace of Teresa, any blood, any hair, semen, etc. Why leave blood in the RAV4? Okay, let's just finish off by saying this one little comment. You certainly need to provide answers. But as with certain other questions that I'm waiting on a reply to, maybe you should save them, not for me, but for Steve and Brendan. Bye for now.